Sit up straight. Make yourself tall. Really stretch up this waist. Use your hands on the blankets or on the floor to help elevate the rib cage. At the same time, soften the breath with the chest lifted. Now sit well on the buttock bones. Release the hands. Carefully join the palms. Close your eyes. Take your attention in. So you take a few moments to quiet yourselves. And steady the breathing. And in this quiet state, pay homage to this practice and to that root teacher, Patanjali. Bow your head. Release your hands. Raise your head and open your eyes. Now, stretch your legs. Then arrange for a bolster. Now, we're going to take 4 poses looking like this. The first is Virasana, sitting with the knees apart, toes together, like usual. Then, with a bolster, perhaps a high bolster, we're going to take Adho Mukha Virasana, buttocks on the heels and the trunk fully supported. And the head comfortably rested. Then there's going to be Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then you're going to walk your feet forward, and you're going to take, if you need your bolster or more, you're going to take Urdhva Mukha, upward facing Uttanasana before we go down. Okay, so there's kind of 5 parts here. Make sure you've got enough props, blankets, bolster for this. I want lots of support, not just contact, but resting of your trunk all the way to the spine of that bolster. So sit up straight for a moment and really settle to your shins, long shins. Long shins, long ankles. Sit. Lift that waist. Then, now for many people, this bolster comes right to the abdomen. It is a happy kind of support on the abdomen. For others, they like a little bit of space here. It's more free. Whatever is suitable for you, support the chest. Chest absolutely supports. And it's like your whole trunk comes to rest. Now this is narrow enough that your back is spreading. Don't Well, you could start reaching the arms forward, but that makes the neck annoying. So let your arms go to the side, elbows bent. Feel free to turn your head, and you should turn it from side to side, but not rapidly. Now, completely come to rest in your pose with those shoulders, with the trunk. The forearms rest on the floor. Put that bolster pratma between the thighs, and you go forward. Sometimes you can lift the elbows and get some spreading that helps then when you let your forearms back down. So the whole point of this is to breathe across your back. Spread your back. Spread, spread. Let the abdomen be soft. Now, in this spreading context, stretch your shins back toward the toes. Lengthen your thighs, top thigh, inner thigh, back to the hip. Let that lengthening soften the interior of the pelvis and spine. Let it settle you more and more deeply. Now, come up onto the hands and knees. And many of you may have to move that bolster just so your head doesn't crash into it. Stretch your arms. Turn your toes under. And up you go. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Push the base joints of the toes down, palms down. Stretch the arm up to the shoulder, front thigh up to the hip. Get that lightness in the pelvis. Lengthen your back. It doesn't matter if your heels go to the floor or not. In fact, they probably should stay up. So you get much more extension. Yes, heels up. Lift the shin, lift the knee to front thigh, and lengthen the trunk back. Now, last act before you get tired. The front ribs, the armpit ribs, that's right between your armpit and your floating ribs in front. Lift your front ribs up toward the hips. Stretch back any amount. Now, walk your feet forward, hip width. Come up onto your fingertips, or if you need more room, even a chair. I need your trunk to be open, to lengthen. So, you could just turn your blankets crosswise and put your fingers on them. So you need enough height, enough height to be able to stretch your heel to the floor. Heel to the floor, this whole perimeter, and toes down. Pull up this shin, knee, front thigh to the hip. lift, make that pelvis light, and stretch forward. Thighs back, waist getting longer, and it's getting horizontally longer. Then when you bend your elbows to take the full pose, take this whole rib cage circumference down, keeping that thigh lifted. So I don't care how far you bend your elbows or how far your head goes down. Just keep the heel grounded evenly. Keep that front thigh lifting vertically. There's a firmness in the hip socket and lightness in the pelvis. Now, prepare to come up. Keep your legs straight. Roll the buttocks down. Inhale, come up. Now, you need some bricks. 2 each. So if there's 2 of you in the room, you need 2 bricks. If a single person happened to have 4 bricks, you should use them because higher is better. Here's what I do. I take 2 sets of bricks, 1 on the floor and 1 on top. So I have 2 equal piles of bricks set up hip width at the wall. If you only have 2 bricks, you take that brick and you put it on its side. So it's almost the same height as 2 bricks, but not quite. It's just high. Also, for better or worse, it's a little more precarious. But honestly, for our purposes, it's not dangerous. It should be stable. So I'm going to show on 2 bricks instead of 4, so you see how it looks for most of you. What I'm doing is dog pose, but with my feet up. I'd have you work on a chair, but a chair is too high, way too high. 2 bricks is almost high enough, but a chair is too high. Anyway, here's what happens. Hip width, and I take my hands forward, and you tuck your shirt in, and you put your base joints, do you see it? So my heels can go back slightly, and I can even stretch my toes, or the heels can go up, okay? So I want it to go up, and I lift the leg. So this extra high lift creates a significant space in the pelvis. Please take this pose. Push down carefully. Step up slowly so you feel the stability. Now don't get too far away from the wall. The point is up. Don't get too close in. Don't get too far out. It's like a regular dog. Now stretch your arms, keep the triceps rolled in, head released, armpit ribs lifting. Ground those base joints and pull those hips up like somebody has a rope sling under your hips and is pulling straight up to the ceiling. Lift your legs to make that happen. And empty the abdomen, pelvis. Open the chest. The basket of the diaphragm, the rib cage expands, the abdominal organs just rest inverted away from that pelvic floor. Now, step out, relax for a few seconds. Now go straight into dog pose with your feet on the floor, okay? So you've got a comparison, right? No muss, no fuss, go right back up with the feet on the floor so you can compare the imprint. Now see what you can do, pressing down on those toes and stretching up through that front thigh. Move that top thigh back. How much can you recreate that open space? It isn't quite the same. Gravity is different. Your legs aren't as long, but the work of the leg can help. Good, come out. Now, Uttanasana, with the feet apart, and the weight, just watch for a sec, you have to be really clear about this. The weight has to go through this, sorry. Here is your foot, okay? The whole perimeter of the heel has to push to the floor evenly. At the same time, this big toe from the base joint to the tip has to lengthen on the floor. At the same time, this little toe side of the foot has to lengthen on the floor. So you've got this and this and this, and you have to keep it. So to do that, your thighs go back. If they come forward, you lose the heel. Stay back, press down. You lengthen your trunk forward, thighs back, ribs forward. Take your hands to bricks of the floor, right? Then we go down. Then you come up, but your attention is on those feet, yeah? Okay, so go, take that pose if you're not in it yet. Bricks under hands as needed. Stretch. We've been here before, right? Coming out of the early pose, but now I'm getting support under those hands. Now, come up. Okay. Now, I think everybody needs a chair and your brick stack. Chair. Now, instead of taking your bricks on their medium height, take them on their flat height. And if you were so fortunate as to have 4 bricks per person, do that. But you can't, it's not right to take 1 brick like this. It won't support your whole foot. Not helpful. So if you can get 2 twos of bricks, do so. Hip width. stand. So you can use the chair. Get your heel on the brick. If your foot is long and your toes hang off, it is more important that you get the heel and the base joints on the brick than the heel hanging off. The heel should not hang off. And stand up. So now you're gonna do it, but not yet. Just appreciate your height and make yourself even taller. Stretch from that back thigh down to the heel, thigh back, extreme length. And from that, lift the pubis. Don't let the thighs come forward. Lift that pubis, buttocks in. Hands to the hips, ribs up. And exhaling, begin to go forward. Don't let the feet change. And furthermore, don't look down. Look forward. Look along the line of the spine. Hands to the hips, pressing those thighs back. Trunk comes forward. Legs back, legs vertical, heels even. Hands go to the chair seat. Fingertips, whatever. Palms, it's your flexibility. Excellent. If you're now, stretch your trunk forward, straight up, both legs back. Pratima, can you bring your hips forward? Your hips have rocked, yes. And put the heel back. So the legs stay vertical. Utthaya, hips a bit forward. All of you should experiment with this little bit of rocking movement, and you will feel how the weight changes. Now be extremely clear, going into the heel, stretching up. Now to go forward, some of you will just be able to go forward. Others of you just go down those chair legs. So you have support all the way if you like. Keep making the legs taller, taller. Heels down, heels down. Steady on the feet. Open the back of the knee. Lengthening up through that front thigh, inner thigh, so the pelvis maintains lightness. Now, to come up, don't look down, look outward, and let your mind be focused on the legs to the heels. Inhaling, push into those feet, come up. Good. Then carefully step down. Use the chair if you need to. So that can be an intimidating height, but did it not change the way the Uttanasana went? Yes, it makes it's obviously some relationship between the mind and the senses and the body changed, which is kind of expectable. Okay, clear this off. Let's see. All right, so we're gonna take 3 versions of Virasana. Okay, so I'm just sort of arranging this. I have 2 bricks. One is for my hips and one goes on the chair for my head. This is the chair seat. And this is how I put that brick on the chair seat. So it's not toward the front edge, it's toward the back edge. And it's long-wise, not wide, it's long. So you can see, okay. So now I'm going to sit in Virasana, making those shins roll flat. And I sit my buttocks on that brick, stretch your toes back, draw the knees forward, lengthen the thigh back, sit up. Watch, this is part one. Tuck your in. Okay. Buttocks down. Now, reach your toes back. This edge of the chair seat should come to meet. Look, hips up, tailbone turns, pelvis turns. And I come up against this chair, against the middle ribs, and then hips up, head down, knees down, shins stretch, hips up. Now, keep watching 1 sec. I'm gonna hold the chair with my hands. Watch this. I can pull my elbows away, but nope. I'm gonna pull that shoulder and elbow toward the chair. See it? I'm using the chair to roll that chest open. Go. Now, if that edge of the chair is too low, like it's pushing on your kidney and your head is going over the back edge of the chair, move that chair back. That is too close. Don't put the chair up opposite against your kidney. Put it again opposite the base of the sternum, about an inch or so under the shoulder blade. Now, Chaya, also take out 1 brick. Leave only 1 brick. That's it. Hold that chair, tuck your buttocks, then raise your hips. Hips up, Chaya. Hips way up. Yes, you're right. A little closer. That is much better. Now stretch your shins. Pull on the top of the chair and draw those shoulder sockets toward the chair, down to the chair. So your collarbones get broad and the front ribs open. And the shoulder blades get flatter and flatter against the chair. Pratima, it helps for the elbows to be closer to each other. And you move like this instead of like this. Move this way. It's almost like headstand. Shoulder blades flat to the chair. Throat soft, don't push with the head. And you know, if you really succeed, you might even want to reduce the height under your head. Now, if you really open your chest, your head might be able to come flat to the chair or very close to it. And if it's not ready, you'll feel it. It's too much. The neck doesn't like it. Now, please come out. Sit back down to that chair, to that brick under your hips, and sit straight in Virasana. just upright, straight, quiet. And now come out. You're in Virasana, pretty simple on a brick. So you come forward, turn your toes under. Look, I'm not at Uttanasana distance, and I'm not in dog pose distance, but I'm just fine to stretch my knees. So you stretch your knees as thoroughly as you need to, because we're going back into Virasana. So come out, have a seat. You could sit in your chair, sit on the floor, sit as you wish. Be comfy. And if you're comfy in Virasana, that's cool. I'm taking as low but as sustainable a support for Virasana as possible. That support goes between my heels, and as before, I'm sitting in Virasana as carefully as possible. Just watch for a sec. It's the same as before, but I'm taking care. Now, can put a brick or a chair or something in front of you. Reach back through these shins to those toes. Remember your experience in that dog pose with your base joints elevated on bricks and how sharp your attention was there. Make it sharp again, stretching back through those toes. Stretch back through the thigh, like it's not stretching, it's let go. Backward through the thigh, push forward through the hands, and you fold forward, keeping that pelvis soft. In this Virasana, the legs are together. Stretching your arms forward, stretching all 10 toes backward, actively, till you don't understand why the teacher's making you stretch these squashed Virasana shins when they're, yeah, how can you stretch them when they're kind of squashed? Keep going. Let the thigh release back to the hips. So both parts of the lower leg are releasing away from the knee. Make that pelvis soft. Lengthen your trunk forward. Walk your ribs forward, hands forward. Keep that abdomen and groin soft. Your head may come to rest on the floor, but the buttocks stay down. Now, carefully come up, and don't come out of the pose, just come up. Keep stretching those shins and watch. So you just did this pose, which we can call Adho Mukha Virasana. Now we're going to do it more formally, where you put these fingertips on those base joints and you're pushing toward your knee, and push towards your fingers from your knee. So you are setting up a push-pull here. And the push with the fingers sends the shoulders back. Do you notice how it also sits your hips? Do you feel it? You pull on your big toes, it sits you into the groin. So just watch before you do. You're not going long. This goes back. And it stays soft. there is no need to hold tension in that abdomen and pelvis if you are pinned to those base joints. And you go forward, round. Your nose goes between your knees. And the whole time you stay pulling. Elbows up, hips down, pull. Soft in the abdomen, bend your elbows so you keep that seatedness in the hips and soften the abdomen. Spread the back and the sacrum. There is no force in that lower body. It is all shins and arms. Pull on those base joints, push back in. Let your head come to some kind of support. Keep pulling. If you have to use your thighs to make this pose happen, you're not stretching your shins and pulling your arms up. Your thighs at the hips should be able to pacify themselves completely. Now you come up the way you went in. Keep pulling and just roll. Breathe in. Easy in the abdomen, and you come up. Did that work? Yes. Okay. Gay wants to speak.
Devon, how did you have your hands exactly on your feet? I couldn't really see, and I'm not sure I did it correctly.
Okay, I had to displace a cat, so have a look.
There goes the cat.
Well, we wouldn't dare.
She's an opportunist at every chance.
So is my dog.
See, my palms face my feet.
Okay.
And my fingers are pulling on that pad of skin.
On your butt?
No.
I can't see your feet. Move
foot.
up. Move up a bit. Move further away from the camera.
Let's see. Here's my foot. How's that?
That's perfect. Okay, you're pulling up on the balls.
That's right.
Okay, got it.
Which I'm calling the base joints.
Right.
So
Okay.
I am pulling right through that bone toward the knee, right? That's what I was saying. Now, if I go higher up so you see more. See how that elbow pulls back.
I wasn't pulling
there.
Right? So I'm not taking it easy. I am pulling. This is working.
Right.
Shoulders back. Do you feel it gives you a much better seat?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. I see that, Pratima. It's happening now. And even with the head resting, you can still keep that activity from the shin through to the foot. And with the head still and resting, you can in fact do more. So Chaya, if you had a brick under the head, got a even taller, whatever the head can truly rest on. Okay, Pratima, did that go well? Okay, good. Now, in such a compact position, when it is supported well, the sensation is that the breath still has a lot of space. right? The breath goes sideways. The breath just fills that interior space. Okay, that's the idea, not restricted. Looks it outwardly, inwardly, because the arms and legs are working, there is space. Come on up, pull on your feet to sit up. Okay, stretch your knees, do something, turn your toes under, stretch those knees. Now, can we please do a dog pose? I think that's important. Even though we've already done it, let us do it again. Shirts in. And think of those legs. Think of the arms now as related in a similar way to this top, chest, and throat. The way those feet and legs stretch up to create properly, to create pelvic space, abdominal space. The arms press into the floor and stretch up to the shoulder, and their correct action put space into the throat, the top chest. Stretch back. Take some deep breaths, exhalations in this dog pose. Make the most of that space. Exhale, inhale, go exploring. Don't hold your breath, just exhale, inhale. And then release, come out. Now, those who are stiff will need a chair as a support nearby, in reach. Everybody will need a blanket or two to sit on, and a brick or two to work with. You need some props to be able to give lift to the chest, maybe some bricks. And a strap to catch a foot. So we've already done this Virasana and Adho Mukha Virasana. So we're gonna change that to a different pose again. Move cat, move cat. Chair in reach, chair is somewhere in reach. Oh, and if you have tender knees in folding, get a little spacer, it can help. All right, so watch. The way we go into Janu Shirshasana involves bending the right knee. Bring that heel in close to the hip and watch. Not quite done. I'm gonna come up and bring my hip in close to that heel. I'm gonna get the two of them as close together as possible, trying to seal that gap. At the same time, this heel goes toward the outside of the hip socket, not inside, right? My shin should not tilt out at this time. That shin, do you see it? Should be vertical. Now, push your heel down evenly, pull up that shin evenly, and lift your waist evenly. Stretch your straight leg evenly until you notice there's a space here. Not a big space, just space. Okay? Pull this up tall. Keep your leg where it is. Reach forward. Catch your foot with your hand or a strap. Straight arm. Now, if you do catch with your fingers, go to those base joints and pull on them, or a strap, pull on them, and push back on your fingers with them like you are standing on that elevated brick in dog pose. Push through those base joints and pull your thigh back to the hip. On your bent leg, push through the heel and tuck back through that top thigh. Lengthen the ribs. Go any amount forward you can. I don't care how much, any amount. Now, come up. Watch this foot. I'm going to face you so you see it. Don't change. My heel is still pushing. The leg turns out. The knee goes out. See how that heel gets sharper. Sharper, 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 sharper. The heel, that shin calf stays sharp. And I bring it in. Only at the end, it becomes Janu Shirshasana. Okay? So, heel, heel, heel. Heel, 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 heel. Heel, heel. Even as that knee goes down. And then you turn the foot. So even though this foot's going differently now, push through those base joints. Push through these base joints. In fact, put your fingers on them gently so you give yourself a sense of direction. Shift into that base joint, lengthen back through the thigh to the groin. Now you can let go as soon as you get that groin release. Face forward, stretch the straight leg foot, tuck back through the straight leg thigh. Bent leg, for all of you, it's the right leg. It's also me too, so I'm going to say, right hand comes forward to catch your left foot. Left hand braces on the floor, somewhere comfy. Now, base joints, push into your fingers, all four fingers and your thumb. Don't leave your thumb free. Get your thumb there too, and with all five fingers, pull back on all five toes. Push, pull. Reflect back into the groin. Lift your waist. Now, this is different. Catch with two hands. The only way you can make that shift is use your legs fully. Now, pull with all 10 fingers on those 5 toes. Push back. Any amount you care to go forward, go. If you've got your foot, you don't need your chair. Any amount you want to go forward, go forward. Keep the push-pull. It's a strong arm action. Reflecting back into lengthen that chest. It's a strong leg action reflecting back in to soften the abdomen. Inhale, come up. Carefully, don't diminish the leg action. Now, come out the way you went in. Raise that leg, stretch it out. Maybe not the effort, but you just make the shape. Now, be there so that, I don't know, you get back some equilibrium between those two legs. Two hips. Two sides of the pelvis. Change. And remember, you come in super close and wide. And then sit your hip in. If there's any gap to close, close it. Now, pulling up on the shin with your arm, push down through your calf to the heel. Push. I mean, it's a strong action. If you see my foot, my toes are lifted up with the effort. They shouldn't, but they do. So push your heel down. Lengthen the thigh, sit the hip down, buttock down, and lengthen the waist. Stretch your straight leg, wake up those base joints. This leg stays independently vertical, and you come forward, catch those toes. Now push-pull. And that push-pull reflects back into the chest through the arm, back into the pelvis through the legs. And you get open space and width and length in the abdomen. It's the opposite hand pratima. It's the bent leg. Yes, it is bent leg hand. Sorry, catching the straight leg foot. But move this hand a bit more forward. The free hand. Come forward, come forward, come forward. Evenly. Push that heel on the bent leg. Now you come up, not quite done yet. Ready for part two. This whole operation turns out. Push through that heel as you let this knee down. That is stretching your shin, stretching this inner thigh. And only at the end, you bring that foot into Janu Shirshasana. And once it's there, you go back to waking up those base joints. You are pushing, as you did in Virasana. You're back to that Virasana sense of lengthening through this foot too. Reflect back into the pelvis. Bent leg hand comes forward to the straight leg foot. Get to those base joints. Brace wherever it is reasonable to do so, and push-pull. 5 fingers, including your thumb. Don't be wild with that thumb. Now, 2 hands to make the shift from the floor to your foot. You must complete the action through those shins, so there's no catch in the transfer. Push, pull, all 10 fingers. 10 toes. That push-pull changes the abdomen, I hope you're noticing. Go any amount forward, any amount. And release now. Come up carefully. Don't give up the extension, even if the fingers come loose. Now, you come out the way you went in. Stretch that leg. Okay. Good. Watch. These blankets just go aside. Chair aside. So I lie on my back and I wiggle and get my spine all broad and open on the floor. And I come up and I wake up those base joints and I put them on this leg. But how am I going to do that? Let me give you a little protocol. So you bend your knee and you catch that big toe so you can kind of wake up that base joint when it's time. So at the moment, it's just soft. So right now, soft. Take that foot way over this way. Soft. And then soft and soft and soft and soft. It comes in. Soft. See how it's curled? Soft. Now when it gets here, now start sharpening it up through the base joints. Sharpen it up through the base joints and push the knee in, push the toes. So you get in soft, catch the big toe, let the ankle curl. You can go whip now. Let the ankle curl, passive toes. And you see if you can pull that foot up toward your head. Abdomen soft, hip soft, thigh soft, soft. And it comes in all soft to the opposite top thigh. Soft, soft. It goes where it goes. Keep it soft. If the knee is stiff, don't worry, don't force. Now that foot gets to the top thigh. And now you start pushing for that weight through to the base joints and the knee away from it. So you actually start pressing on this thigh, the support leg. And you release and come out. Fold the other side up. Catch the big toe. Let the ankle relax, hook, curl, soften. Outer calf soft. Back of the calf, nothing active, your passive leg. And it goes over the head. You just mobilize that hip, knee out. And then the foot comes slowly down to the opposite top thigh, finds its way. Once it gets there, go stretch that calf, push through to the big toes, push the knee away. So the knee winds up moving away from your chest closer to Padmasana. Sharp foot, not a passive foot. That outer foot is pressing the top thigh. Sharp. And you come out and repeat this. I'm watching this time more closely. So the very same thing, catch that big toe, relax the ankle and the foot. Now draw that foot over your head with the knee bent, just trying to open that knee more. Try open the knee. That's right. You're not, it's not Supta Parankustasana, but it's really hip mobility, good pratima. And then very slowly from the hip, you let that knee bend out to the side more and more and more. Relaxed foot, long outer shin, soft calf, the knee folds, the heel comes wherever it gets to, and then once you're in position, go to work, stretch through that big toe, away from the knee, sharpen the base joints, long shin, long ankle, press that foot, and that activates the leg all the way back toward the hip. The right knee starts moving away from the head, right groin opens. Come out. Change again. Bend up the left knee. Draw that foot above the head, soft ankle. Then fold it quiet in the knee, quiet in the hip. Soft abdomen. Bring that heel somewhere to the top thigh. Don't force the two sides to be similar if they are not. Just notice what is happening. And as a rule of thumb, never force the knee, and always assume the problem requires more work at the hip, not a fix in the knee. Now stretch that shin, pressing the outer foot against that top thigh, and stretch the inner foot, all the base joints. Soften the abdomen. Push that knee away from the head, not with your hands, but with the action of the leg. And out you come. And bend your knees, roll to the side, and come up sitting. So I'm going to sit on a blanket. And then I'm going to reach forward and catch. I'm going to show you from the front and the side so you see it all. And this hand just braces on the floor, and this knee bends and the foot relaxes. And see how this foot right now is centered. I want it over here if I can manage. And it goes way up above my head if I can manage. All loose in the ankle. And then it comes in. And if I could touch my forehead with my foot, that would be a humbling thing. Then if you can touch your sternum with your foot, that would be nice. And then if you could bring your foot down to your top thigh, all soft, that might be nice. And then go to work stretching your foot and reaching out with that knee. And sit up straight. So that worked well. Stretch your straight leg, Cliff. The one on the floor, turn that knee straight, stretch it. So it's possible that some of you need an extra blanket under the hips, but from what I see, most of you are doing fairly well. Come out. The way you went in, not exactly the way you went in, just raise the knee up. Don't go out the exact same way. Maybe sit higher, Cliff, so that hip can relax more. From the side, catch your big toe. Bend the knee, relax the ankle. The knee goes out to the side. And you come fairly upright. Don't stretch your spine. Be relaxed. It's more important that the foot comes up. And then can you help that foot to come in towards your head? This is the hip. And then can you help that foot to come in towards your sternum? It's the hip, not the knee. And then can you bring it down onto the top thigh? And then begin to stretch through the big toe and the knee. Keep your straight leg facing straight up. Okay. Are your knees okay? I find this to be safe in my knee. Everybody's knee is different. If it is not safe on your knee, you should not do it. You should find a different way in. There are many ways in. Come out. Safe in the knee. Stretch both legs. Okay. It's 5:08. We have to take a symmetrical forward bend. Possibly you want a chair in front of you. You might want a bolster. You might want a chair. If you're a good forward bender, you might want just a blanket. But you need a form of support for under your head. My personal favorite is a small brick right between my shins. And I can push it pretty far away, and it makes it easy for me to breathe. Now, everybody, stretch your legs. And you have to push out through those base joints like they're standing on those bricks at the wall in that dog pose you did. Push out through those shin bones, pull back through the thigh, create space in the pelvis. Lengthen up through the trunk, reach forward, and you either catch your toes if your flexibility is there, or you catch the front edge of this chair seat with those fingers, and you pull back through your shoulders and push forward through your toes and lift your trunk. And Cliff, for anybody else who might need to, the fingers could go up to the top of the chair, and a brick on the chair seat to rest your head. Now, if you're catching your toes, your elbows bend and you go forward. If you're on a chair, the hands go to the top of that chair. Long ribs. And eventually you kind of relax all the push-pull, but the legs stay straight and the arms stay long and the ribs open. Abdomen soft, hips down. Spread the back. And then inhale and come up carefully and lie flat in Shavasana with your head supported. Now, head support is kind of custom My personal head support is more like neck support, throat support. For most of us, though, it's brain support, neck brain support. So make sure that you and your personal neck, throat, brain, muscles, nerves, organs, all of them are, you might say, in agreement with the support you choose. Tuck those shoulders, turn your palms up. So if there's something that comes out of this work, it is that the effort, that outward effort, arms and legs, always has an inward reflection. There is always an inner body participation. And if you use the outer body correctly, the inner body has freedom to absorb and respond. And yoga is, after all, interactive, integrative, it is time. It is 5:15. So you may stay as you are or come up sitting. Namaskar. Thank you. Happy Monday. Ruby says hi. See you later.